Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand with your host Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.
Welcome to Pattaya, welcome to Thailand, and welcome to the first Gadget Show of, what can we say, the new podcast, of course, on the operations desk, of course, as per normal over there in the Concorde at the end of the table, Mr. Bobby himself, playing with all the controls. Good evening and good afternoon to you, sir. He's fine, and of course, opposite me today, Mr. Mark Kelly, the man that knows about gadgets, movies, and TV. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
It's nice. It's nice to have you on here. Of course, yeah. Can I say this before we start? You're a bit of a TV and games buff, aren't you?
Yeah.
You like your stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time we sort of meet, you go, "Have you seen?"
No, you mean every time we meet, I bore you, and you start yawning
for hours and hours and hours.
But though you do watch TV shows that I've never seen, and I think, well, okay.
I do listen to you, and you do come up with some really, really good shows that I've seen. What can we expect today from today's show?
So today we're going to just talk quickly about a few gadgets, a couple of movies and some TV shows, and then basically we'll expand from then on the next shows.
Good. Okay. All right. So let's start with, as we say, the first gadget of the first podcast of the first Gadget Show.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a gadget, but it's more something that is on everybody's lips at the minute. It's the Xbox S series, and they say it's going to take over people that are PC gaming. Mm-hmm. They're going to bring out exclusives to take people away from the PC, away from the PS4, which they are.
Do you think that'll happen?
Well, no, because I'm a PC man and a PlayStation 4 man. Uh-huh. I would never be an Xbox person. Yeah, they don't have any decent games. Sorry, guys out there that do have.
I remember in the past when I brought for my son, I did buy him an Xbox, and I didn't like it.
I feel very sorry for you.
I didn't like it. It didn't last that long, and then we went over to the PlayStation, which I do like.
I just feel that I think many people will agree with what I'm saying, or disagree with what I'm saying. The PlayStation 4 and the PC does have exclusives that the Xbox doesn't. And when the Xbox comes out with their exclusives, they're kind of lame. I know I'm going to get some feedback.
What would you say in truth? I mean, what would you say between PlayStation and Xbox, graphic wise? Okay,
so this is the massive debate that everybody's going on about now. Before, the Xbox was a 720p. Mm-hmm. And its machinery upgraded it to 1080, where the PlayStation 4 was straight 1080 out the box. But the limitations are the fact that you download 10 games and your memory is full. That's why I say to people to go to PC, everlasting memory.
I remember when we got the PlayStation. I remember the first game we got on PlayStation. I was hooked more than my kids were. That was Crash Bandicoot. You remember that?
Yeah,
that was good. I love that, Crash Bandicoot.
Do you know, every console, we haven't mentioned Nintendo, which are the giants. Okay. Mm-hmm. So every console has a mascot. Nintendo has Mario Brothers.
Okay.
Sega had Sonic, which were they trying to compete against Mario. Mm. And then the PlayStation come out with their mascot of Crash Bandicoot. Xbox, I don't think, has a mascot.
Has it? I was talking to you before we came on air, and I was just watched a couple of things because I knew you was coming on. And when they did, I remember that there was a group of people who spoke about. Let's talk about the Space Invaders. Remember that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were saying about this. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So the Space Invaders came out, and then as you played Space Invaders, it was repetitive because everybody got to know the pattern of the Space Invaders. And there was 3 guys that came up with an add-on to Space Invaders that took you to a different level, and it sort of added layers on the game. Can you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then after that, the guy came out. Space Invaders was played for men. That's what he said. It was 99.9% of men playing Space Invaders. They sat at the table and said, what about the women? Yeah, what about women? They
can sit and watch.
How can we just sit and watch? How can we get the women playing? What do you think they came up with? Have a guess.
I'll
give you an idea. Here's a pizza on the table.
A pizza box.
It was actually a pizza that they got the idea from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were sitting at a restaurant having a pizza. The Chinese guy took a slice out of the pizza and born the next day was Pac-Man.
But how do you develop the yellow figure going around the screen?
Right. So originally the guy came up with loads of different things. The idea came from the pizza. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they coloured it yellow, and originally it didn't have any eyes, and it went after the ghost. But the same thing again happened. It was repetitive. It got the same. Everybody knew it. Even the women collared it onto how you could play it. And these three guys came up with an add-on. Yeah. Eventually, if I remember rightly, correct me if I'm wrong, these three guys were hired by Atari.
And this is where I'm trying to think of the game. Trying to think of the game. It was the Space Invader game, but it was before
the Galaxy one, wasn't it?
I think so. It was before the R-Type and Super R-Type games come out. Again, it was a little ship that went.
That's right.
Inside, and then bullets come out.
It was like Galactica or something like that, yeah, whatever it was,
or something like that.
Yeah, I remember it. That one. I mean, it was. I remember seeing that they had the first. There was a woman actually talking on the movie. They had the first games competition in America ever, and it was with the Atari console with Space Invaders cartridge in it. So it was just a TV Atari cartridge with a Space Invaders cartridge in it, and there was 20 people all lined up. And when the guy said go, everybody switched start, and she said the sound was amazing because all these Ataris just lit up, and then Space Invaders. And she says all the game was in sync. It says it was like the chairs and the TV was moving while these guys were playing it.
But saying about cartridge, do you remember what? I don't know. Were you a gamer when you were a child?
I had certain games, yes.
Okay, and this question will also go out to Bobby that's sitting there alone. Do you remember what people used to do with the cartridges to games, especially Nintendo, when they didn't work? No. How did you get the cartridge to work? How did you get the game to work?
Grab this, Bobby, and come in on that. No, he hasn't got an idea. Go on. I don't know what you're talking. Yeah.
If the game didn't work, you used to take them out, blowing them.
Oh, I've seen them do that on the video.
Stick them back in.
Yeah, I've seen them do that on the video. I wonder what that was.
It's like a magic blow that we had. Each person had. Your friend couldn't do it to your cartridge. Only you could do it to your own. Blow it in, and then you stick it in. Bang! It's working.
I remember on the video. Actually, it was the death of the cartridge was caused by one man, Steven Spielberg.
What, with the E.T.?
Yeah, with the E.T. game.
Do you know what they did with that? They buried them in Area 51 in the desert.
They couldn't sell them. It was Steven Spielberg wanted this game for E.T. the film, right? He commissioned these guys to build E.T. the game. They built it within 3 months, took it to Spielberg, he played it, he said it's fantastic. Came to Christmas, it didn't sell.
And even now, you're not allowed to mention it.
Oh, aren't you?
No.
Well, we have.
Well, yeah. But it's taboo, and basically every copy was taken to Area 51 or somewhere in the desert.
Buried.
And it was buried as deep. But what possesses people to feel that bad about a game, to take it in the middle of the desert and bury it like a body?
This guy that invented the E.T. game said on camera, I was the guy that killed the cartridge cassette.
Wow.
That's what he said. Amazing, yeah? But of course, when you go on to like Sonic and Mario, where are they from? I mean,
Sonic and Mario also cartridge. So Sonic's from the Sega.
From Sega, okay.
Yeah? Mm. And then Mario's from the very first Nintendo, okay?
What was the first console, if I remember, was by a coloured guy in America, and it was called the SS cartridge game that then the Atari copied.
The Atari ST or whatever it's called. Yeah,
it was this guy that actually invented it in his garage. They took it and they sort of like threw it out there. What about sort of when we go about games and that? I mean, what about, I'm only going in my head, what about like Commodore 64?
So when I was...
remember that? Can you remember that?
Yeah, that was my first... See, you know, I didn't come from a rich home, you know?
No.
And as many people didn't.
Mine was approved
back in the 80s. Well, there we go. But the Atari ST was the first real kind of like keyboard computer that come out.
Okay.
No, sorry, you had the Spectrum 48K that come out first.
Spectrum, that was it. Yeah.
Then the 128K. Mm-hmm. Then the Atari had a kind of like I think it had the
Atari had
the Commodore.
First, yeah.
No, that's it. The Commodore had the green keys and had the tape deck on.
I know
on
that
side.
the Atari was the first one with the joystick.
That was the
right?
console, the Atari ST.
Wow.
But then you had a mixture of the Spectrum 128K. Then you had the Amstrad and the Commodore 64, which was white, which I had. All had
Commodore
a tape loader. So you're waiting for 30 minutes for this game in anticipation.
What was the computer that used a floppy disk? Was that the 64?
No. So the actual floppy disk, which was about that big, really floppy. I only ever saw it in the Nimbus, the BBCs that we used to use at school with the orange or the red keys at the top. Okay. And that was only for data. I don't remember ever putting games. And then you had the hard floppy disk that come out for different computers, which then could transfer games.
But Atari at the time cornered the market, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean it's crazy.
They've since gone.
Have they? Okay.
Well, they made a mistake. They come out with a console. They try to beat the console wars, and they come out with a console before its time. So when Sega had the Sega Master System, which was an 8-bit machine, Nintendo had the NES, which was an 8-bit machine. The Atari Jaguar, then they come out with the 16-bit, and Atari come out with Atari Jaguar, which was a 64-bit disc.
So where we come, that's the old days. Now let's just talk about where we are today. I mean, how it's evolved. And I mean, you showed me the other day, you said, look at this, and I looked at it, and I thought it was a movie. I really thought that they were real people, and it was a movie. You went, this is a video game.
Games are bigger than films now. You look at so a game that I'm going to talk about today that's PlayStation 4 exclusive is The Last of Us 2.
The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first one I played on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. That's my only reason for buying them games. And it follows the protagonist Joel and his sidekick Ellie, who he agrees to take across cities. Okay, in a zombie-infested world, that she has been bitten, but she hasn't turned. She turns out to be the cure. So if he gets her to the safe haven, they can extract her blood and make a cure. Okay.
Can I just say one thing that's in my head? I've got to remember this. The Atari guys, it's just come to my brain now when I watched it the other day. The Atari guys invested $1,400 that got them back $280 million.
Wow.
That's not a bad investment, is it? That's the first time as well, yeah? So I just remember that. And it's bugging in my head. The guy that made Pac-Man and made Space Invaders...
He's still getting royalties from it, you know that?
Yeah, he's got a book. He's got his book where he designed the Space Invaders, the different models and how it is and how it works and what it is. And he brought this folder out. Believe it or not, that guy's been offered $10 million for that book and will not sell it.
But then you look at, for example, you look at a game, World of Warcraft.
But that's massive,
It's been going on since I was a lad. Yeah. Andy that was in here the other week, he plays it avidly.
My friend used to go to all the conventions.
That's it. It's the biggest game no one has ever been able to top. It is a subscription-based game. Okay. It's very cheap, £12 a month, but it's hours and hours and hours and hours.
£12 a month, okay? And how many people play it, Mark?
Billions.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it, when you get billions times?
Exactly.
times $12.
Millions and millions.
Yeah,
but,
okay, millions and millions. But it's still like,
It's a game you can pick up on your own without having... See, me, I'm an online gamer, but I also like to play solo. So it is a game you can pick up solo and play through. It takes longer to progress.
What about does this occur on today's games? For example, back in the day when we're talking of like Space Invaders and the other one, the Pac-Man.
Yep.
You could stay. There was some people. I mean, there was one guy on the film actually stayed on the Pac-Man machine for 36 hours. He actually stayed with that one quarter. It was a quarter. And he put it in the machine and he stayed on it for that long a time. Yeah, he was the world record, blah, 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 whatever. So when these guys did it, they invented the bit where you get to a certain level and you have to put more money in to continue. Yeah. And that's how they made more money from the game. I mean, in today's games, you say it's £12 a month. Does that get you everything or can you upgrade?
No. So because a lot of us are to blame as well in the microtransactions world.
Okay.
So you're playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which my dad plays, and he loves it a bit. So he's a 70-year-old man that's addicted to this game. So you can play anything you want, but next month they'll come out with some new content. You can't get it unless you pay $20 for it, or for the season pass. Okay, so I play a game called Destiny 2. I've been playing it for 4 years now. Every year they'll come out with a new season. You have to pay and download.
Do you think, in your opinion, and you're a game man, okay, honest opinion, do you think people that play these kind of games, that it takes them away from reality?
No.
No? Why? Why don't you think it takes them from reality? Does it not put them into a fantasy world?
Okay, so there's two arguments to be had for that. Okay, on my opinion, yeah, okay, to a certain extent, it does take you out the norm into reality of your own, but that actually combats anxiety and depression.
Okay,
if you can sit for alone and you can just forget anything that's going around you, instead of drinking, taking drugs, going to a game.
It's a release.
That's it. So when you finish, you feel better. Yeah. It's actually been proven with the reflexes in certain games. It actually makes people's IQ higher. Okay, especially kids that have autism, etc.
I did speak to a doctor, believe this or not, in Bangkok Hospital, who spoke about my stroke and the way my nervous system was on the right hand side, and he said, play a game or read books.
Yeah,
stimulate your brain
exactly,
and it will get your nervous system working again, which I found incredible.
But then, if it does take you into
fantasy world,
a fantasy world, is that wrong? As long as you don't take it to the extreme and bring it into reality.
What do you say? What do you say about this? And what do you say about the violent games where there's blood, gore, and all this lot, and it falls into the wrong hands of younger kids?
Okay, so there's Grand Theft Auto.
Which is violent. Which
is a violent game, okay? Yes. I brought the latest Grand Theft Auto about 5 years ago now. And some people waiting in a queue. And some guy come in, he stabbed this kid for his copy of the game. Because he couldn't get it. These people believe what they see in the game. And they'll finish the game and they'll go out in the street. But then movies also do the same thing. Violent movies. You look at Game of Thrones. It's depicted as one of the most bloodiest.
But how can
TV shows?
How can they stop? For example, especially online, how can they stop these kind of games falling into the wrong hands?
You can't, because you're always going to get the kid that is going to have his older brother, his older sister, or his mum or dad that just says, "Okay, yeah, fine, you're 15, it's an 18. Oh, go on, you can have it." This I really disagree with. If it's an 18-year-old,
it's down to parental.
And it's down to the shops and people around them. PlayStation doesn't know if there's a 15-year-old kid playing it, because he can lie about his age online.
So what would you say if they came out with something like they have in China now, where you've got retinal and thumb scans?
That's fine.
Where we could sort of feed the. Am I talking, Bobby? You know where I'm coming from, yeah. So like if you had a family of 4, they've all got to put their eye retinal in, and they've all got to put their thumbprint in. Do you think that would stop it, or do you think they would still get somebody to do it for them?
They'd still get someone away. They still get around that. You look at the phone. You've got retinal and thumb scan on the phone, but kids are still getting into the Play Store and having bills of $1,000 for the parents.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're never going to get. I don't think you're ever going to get around that. If a child wants to play a game, he will play it.
But what about when? I mean, I went to China last year with a friend, and we went into the gaming community, as you know, for the VR thing and all that. Yeah. And we went into a big room. It was like 25 feet by 25 feet, for example. You put the goggles on. You've got the guns in. You've got the overhead cables, and you've got these goggles, and then they switch it on. Wow. It's like you are there. I mean, you are literally in the game. You're there. I mean, where do you see it going from there, Mark?
Well, that may be a thing of the past.
Okay. Why?
Apple, next year or 2022, they are not sure. They've now developed their new Apple glasses.
Okay. This is the thing we were going to talk about, yeah?
Yeah. So it's augmented reality, and they're saying they're going to push it against VR headsets and glasses. Okay, everything will come up on the screen, so you can, with the blink of your eye, you can change the background to the glasses, voice recognition, maps. It will have everything that's on your phone including games, will then appear on the glasses. But is that not dangerous?
Yeah.
If you're walking
of course.
down the street,
Absolutely.
For me, if I'm walking down the street and I have a map in front of one eye, and I've only got one eye that's really say crystal clear, I haven't seen the glasses. There's been no real demos on the glasses. There's just been sample photos. Okay, they have tried to come up with glasses before, and they crashed and burned really hard.
Where do you think technology is going? I mean, because when you look at, I watched a movie last night. I don't know if you remember, Bobby, or you do. I watched a movie last night. If you remember Toy Soldiers, you remember that?
I was watching that the night before.
Well, Toy Soldiers, actually, that's a long time ago, isn't it? That's what, 70s, 80s, 70s? 80s. Well, in Toy Soldiers, they do 3D printing.
Yeah.
3D printing in this movie. Now, if you go back in movies and you see all these things from out of different movies that are now today's technology, surely they had the insight then about it.
Do you know, I've had this discussion with a few people now, okay? So I'm one of the minds where, and there's going to be a lot of people that would disagree with what I'm about to say. Star Trek, Star Wars, all these sci-fi movies, they talk about moving through time, reality. Okay, so if they're able to make a movie about it, you're saying that no one's actually done it? We don't know what they're doing in Area 51 and all these other places, but they all talk about space travel.
Don't you think when you talk about, like I've just spoke about 3D printing, like, you know, in the 80s movies or whatever, don't you think that it's they release it when and as, and it's supply and demand? Because if you run too quick, you can't sell what you've got. Yeah.
Look, so you think from in a space of 10 to 15 years, okay? So from 1996, 97 until 2010, for example, how far did we move with technology? We didn't have a mobile phone.
Yeah.
The first mobile phone that was available, okay, actually, saying that, the Nokia 3310, happy birthday, turns 20 this week.
I remember having the phone in my car. I had a Daimler Sovereign, and I had a phone in there.
That's because you were rich.
And the size of the battery was the same size as a car battery.
What was it, Motorola?
Motorola.
Yeah.
And it had the little phone on the top with the cable on it, but the battery weighed a ton. And I remember at the time, it was £4 English a minute. But you couldn't ring anybody because nobody had one. You was like one of the only ones that had one of the phones.
The first mobile phone was only available to the post office.
Okay.
And it was a pay-as-you-go.
Okay.
So I was about 19 at the time. I was born in 77, so you can work out what year it was. And good year to be born in, by the way.
77?
Yeah. And so the first mobile phone was available for the post office. It was extremely expensive to have on a pay-as-you-go. And then all of a sudden, we come out with the 310s. Everyone's playing Snake and going up to with infrared to their mate to get the latest music on, well, say music, but ringtone. Yeah. And and you look at it now, and phones are just, you've got the new Samsung Ultra S that has times 100 zoom on the camera.
Wow. I seen a program where there was a guy over in the UK that was basically saying, donate your old phones, or you send your old phones to us, we'll take them off your hands. And he was literally ending up with skips and skips and skips of telephones, yes? What he was doing was actually selling them. He was breaking them all apart and selling the chips back to China, and China were putting them in toys.
Wow.
And reprogramming the chip so the toy could talk to the kids, yeah? And it was cheaper to do that than actually produce the new chips.
But then you look at the price of things now. So
it's pennies.
Going back on to the Xbox S series, there'll be two variations that will come out. I have it written down. So
that's okay. It's all right.
I have to look at it. So the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. The Xbox Series S they'll both be launched on November 10th, 2020. The more expensive one will be costing $500.
Wow. Okay.
Where the Xbox S will be costing $299. Obviously, with a...
Is the Xbox one where you have to go to the library and download it?
No, you can still get it on.
You can still get it on.
Now things are kind of more digital. So I'm a PC gamer, so I buy everything from CD keys if I want it cheap, or I buy it straight off Steam. It's the digital copy I will have till the day I die, as long as I keep that account. Yeah, things are moving away from CDs now. Okay, but you can still buy the CDs for the consoles.
The Laserdisc didn't last long, did it?
No.
You remember that? That was like I was down in Switzerland. That came out, the Laserdisc, and somebody came in with this machine and brought me a Laserdisc. I remember it now. It was David Bowie and Mick Jagger dancing in the street.
Wasn't it Philips that come out with that?
I don't. Bobby would probably know Philips. Yeah, and it was like this 12-inch size, one song.
Well, I mean,
one song. It was like, whoa, hang on.
Bobby will remember this. So Philips come out, I think, with their 3DI or the CDI, which was their Laserdisc gaming massive unit.
Yeah.
That was about $500 at the time.
But it didn't last long. Laserdisc didn't last long.
It's the same as the mini disc. How long did the mini disc last?
The mini disc didn't.
A year?
Yeah.
2 years?
I don't know. The one thing that I remember somebody telling me about was, and Sarah, there again, Bowie or yourself will probably know this even better, is when they brought the CDs and they made the CDs, they put them in the plastic cases, then they put the covers on, which are made from paper. Over the years, the paper was eating away at the CD.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was interfering with the CD. So if you get a CD now, original one, still cellophane from the year that it was made, and open it up, you'll find out that the printing has gone onto the CD and interferes with the playing of it.
Obviously,
So
you
is it, sir? Yeah, the acid from the paper. There you go.
because you guys are you're a DJ, Dave X, and Bobby, you're a musician, so you obviously know more about that than myself. I only use the CDs.
But what did games come out? Did games not come out on CD-ROMs or anything? CD. So you could still buy the games on CDs, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they come in a plastic covering.
Yeah. Oh, just
hard plastic box.
Yeah, but this is what we're talking about. We're talking.
That's the box.
This is the box. The hard plastic box.
I thought you meant the
No. The hard plastic box had a CD in it, and inside the plastic box you had this like cardboard thing that had all the what's on it, and of course when that was together and the condensation and everything inside it, and the warm and the cold, and everything, it interfered with so some of the CDs weren't playing. And I think in the end that's why they faded them out.
I think that's why a lot of people still felt that cartridge was still the way forward, because apart from having to blow in it, you didn't have scratches. You could throw it across the room.
What was the other one that came out? Beta, wasn't it? Beta. Yeah, Beta, VHS and Beta. You remember Beta? They tried to sort of like come out with this Beta video thing. It was massive.
What, Betamax?
Yeah, it was like a house brick.
Yeah, the one that used to come up like that.
Yeah, it was like, but the actual thing itself, I mean, VHS videos, you brought these videos and you had a wall full of films, yeah, and then you could buy this big one and it sort of cleaned the machine. It was really weird.
But then talking about videos, Blockbuster Video,
Still one left though, isn't there?
There's
still one left.
I posted this story the other week. And
Netflix, yeah?
That's it. And it's, and there's another one in America as well.
Right, hold that thought. Let's just have a little bit of this, then we'll take a sip of water, and we'll come back with the Blockbuster story. Stay with us.
Cool.
Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand, with your host Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.
Right, you're in the studio with Mark Kelly talking about gadgets, films, and all the things from yesteryear. We've been talking about lots and lots of things so far, mixing it up, trying to talk with each other about yesteryear and also today's technology. We're just going to turn over to Blockbuster, because Mark's got a good story about Blockbuster, haven't you? I mean, you know the history of that, so give us a quick insight.
Well, Blockbuster could have been a lot bigger, and they could have still been going around now. Unfortunately, they decided to decline probably the best deal that ever fell into their lap. Netflix at the time was only sending out via mail films. And it was taking like 7 days to get to the person and 7 days to send it back. So Netflix had approached Blockbuster Video and said, hey, let's do a merger and let's do our films in your stores. Blockbuster said, no, because you're not going to get anywhere.
Oops.
Yeah. And now Netflix have their own original TV shows and movies that are winning awards.
Do you reckon Blockbuster is kicking themselves? There is one left though, isn't there? There's actually one store left, isn't there? They kept one store, is that right?
That's in America.
That's in America, isn't it? Yeah. I can remember being a DJ, in the UK at the time. And I can remember going from my mother's house, getting off the bus, walking past Blockbuster to post all the videos back.
Yeah.
you had to, didn't you?
Or it was a day late and you were scared to bring it in, so you went and posted it, so you didn't have to deal with paying the late charge.
Yeah.
And you could say, but I posted it.
Yeah. No, honest, I did post it. Right. What's next on the list? We like that one. We like that.
So, next up list is
the Blockbuster thing. It just brings back so memories. The memories just like flood, don't they? It's like flicking switches in your head.
So I just want to
the top 10.
Do you know what? It'll actually, if people want to comment, it'll actually be good to do a nostalgia trip. Anything that people want us to talk about that they used to have or still even may have now and use. So we're going on to films now, if I may.
Of course, absolutely. Can we give him a bit of applause at the back? Thanks a lot. What can I say? See, I've even brought the crowd in for you. Go on.
So there's a major change. There's one film at the minute on Netflix, and it is so fun. It's called Eurovision. It's with Will Ferrell.
Oh, I haven't watched it. I've seen it advertised. So
if you want to see Will Ferrell still being funny, donning a wavy blonde wig.
Is that in the habit way? They're not from Sweden, are they, in the film?
Yes. So he's trying his best, really bad Swedish accent, taking the mickey out of Americans.
Uh-huh.
And it actually, do you know what? It's an hour and a half to 2 hours long, and it's a film that I sat down. I really loved. I enjoyed it from start to finish.
It's called Eurovision.
I've
seen that one.
And it's about without doing any spoilers. It's Will Ferrell as a child. He's seen his first ever Eurovision. Mm-hmm. He likes it and he wants to compete, but people take the mickey out of him and saying he's not going to be any good. His dad wants him to be a man, not a pansy, as he calls him. Yeah. But then he goes away from home when he's older, sets up with a girl that likes him.
Not too much, partner. No spoilers.
No spoilers. And basically he goes in the Eurovision.
We'll get the hate mail if you tell spoilers.
But how he does it and how it finishes it's very funny.
Have you watched Lilyhammer yet?
No.
You have to watch it. What's the guy in the E Street Band? What was his name? Come on, the one with the bandana. What's his name? Bandana. Steven Van Zandt. He's from the E Street Band. That's correct, isn't it? Plays with Bruce Springsteen. Yeah. Basically, he's a gangster in New York. Yeah, who causes a little bit of a problem, and they have to get rid of him. He's like one of the big bosses, so he has to go away for a little time.
And that's Lillehammer.
And he says, I want to go to Lillehammer in Norway. And they go, why? Because I went there for the Olympics. It's a nice place. He goes, are you stupid? It's cold over there. He says, I like it. You must watch it. If anybody's listening out there now, watch Lillehammer. It is brilliant. It's a brilliant film. And it's just a film that you can't stop down watching all the series. It's a series, sorry. So
going on to...
good. I like that. Okay, another one for us.
So going on to some TV shows... The Last Dance. I do like documentaries.
Okay.
So the Last Dance is a series about Michael Jordan when he was with the Chicago Bulls. Mm-hmm. How the boots got named after him. How then Chicago Bulls lost money. Mm-hmm. And how Michael Jordan retired. And it's actually, do you know what? It's a really interesting documentary. It really has a real insight. I mean, I didn't know half the stuff it was telling me about Michael Jordan, about how he actually come to actually hating the Chicago Bulls.
Wow.
And he's the first ever Nike Air boots, the Jordans that come out were white, and it was actually against their dress code on the court to wear black boots.
I remember watching a documentary on Netflix about the guy from Nike who actually came up with Nike. Yeah. And he said he can remember that he paid this art student $1,000 to come up with a logo for his new brand. And after 5 or 6 days, she come back with a tick. Anyway, what's this? She went, it'll work.
But then it's probably the most
unbelievable. It's probably
one of the most famous.
Yeah. So simple.
I mean, I used a tick on an artwork that I was doing, and it come back, it was copyrighted.
Can you remember? I mean, let's ask Bobby. Bobby, the BMW logo. The BMW logo. Do you know what it is?
The actual symbol.
The actual symbol. Do you know what it resembles? The BMW logo resembles a propeller from an aeroplane because they first produced aeroplanes. So the actual thing is that, and Toyota, if we remember, Toyota logo is the inventor of Toyota, the CEO. It's his initials. If you look at it, it's broke down. It's his initials. Can you remember what was the other one? Can you remember? There was some more, wasn't there?
But then BMW stands for Bavarisch Motorworks.
Yeah.
Audi, the rings.
Yeah, go on.
That is all the founders of Audi coming together as one.
As one, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was.
What was that other one we did?
There was one that
Toblerone.
That was it.
Toblerone.
Yeah.
We've never noticed it until we looked at Toblerone.
That was it.
There's a bear in the mountain.
Yes.
I've never looked. I've eaten loads of Toblerone, seen loads of Toblerone, and there's a bear in the mountain. On going back onto films and TV, last night I watched Saturday Night Fever. I had to watch it.
You mean the original one?
The original.
Okay.
The original. I mean, you can tell. The first time I seen that, I was so excited, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Then I watched it last night, and it was okay.
Well,
but it didn't sort of. It just. I don't know.
That was actually the savior of two people.
Well, it was the Bee Gees.
Films.
The Bee Gees.
And do you know why it was the savior of the Bee Gees?
Because it was their soundtracks and everything on it.
Yeah, but at the time, people were bored of hearing their voice, and their music sales were going down. Okay. And they were going out of business. They had nothing to do.
Their savior, yeah.
And then they come out with this unique high-pitched voice for Saturday Night Fever, and then it kind of it erupted them, and it propelled obviously the career for them.
Quote me wrong. I think they had some. I think they made that film with somebody, didn't they? Because it said. I think is it just the music by the Bee Gees, or is it the actual film as well?
I'm not. I thought it was just
the music, just the back, just the tracks. Yeah.
So there was Saturday Night Fever and Staying Alive.
Staying Alive, yeah.
What was the first one?
Saturday Night Fever, I think it was.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was Saturday Night Fever first, yeah. Yeah. Staying Alive, then Saturday Night Fever. Was it? Okay, all right. Okay,
I just know that my sister's 4 years older than me, and she was addicted to the film and John Travolta at the time.
It's so funny. It's so funny because, the girl that's trying to get laid by John Travolta is so funny. She just keeps coming up to him and bringing all these, I really want you. He's got condoms in that hand and pills in that hand, and like he's just saying, when I'm ready, I'll call you.
But then another big dancing movie that come out. I don't know how close it was Footloose. I think that come out in the 80s.
Footloose, Kenny Loggins, was it?
No.
Footloose.
Kevin Bacon.
Oh yeah, but Kenny is the guy that sang it. Kevin Bacon is the guy that played it.
But that film was never half as big as the Saturday Night Fever and Staying Alive. Not many people know about Footloose, but it had a great soundtrack.
So here's one for you. I'm going to put you on the spot. You like your movies, you like your TV stuff.
Yep.
Name me your 5 top movies in reverse from 5. Just think about it for a second, and I'm going to tell you that mine are The Green Mile,
yep,
Shawshank Redemption, and The Godfather. They're my top
3. That's not
5. No. There's 3-4 parts to The Godfather. So I've got all the Godfather.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
I've got all the Godfather that I've got there. But Shawshank and The Green Mile, The Godfather, absolutely love.
So you're going to laugh at me here. Okay.
No, sure.
Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
The 1969 version with Michael York as Tybalt.
Okay, so that's 5th. Okay, 4th.
Okay, will be probably Running Man.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
What's your favourite movie, Bobby?
I'd say the Godfather trilogy.
Yeah, he's on the good. It's good, isn't it? And of course,
I've never seen him.
Yeah, but you got to remember this, right?
Never seen him.
There's something about the Godfather that everybody doesn't know, or probably a lot of people know, but a lot of people don't realise. And that is, of course, Al Pacino was brought in at the last second.
Really?
To play that part. Yeah.
See, I like Casino.
The last second. See the screen test they did? Yeah. Very good, yeah. Brilliant.
See, Casino for me is good.
Casino's great, and also the other one, which is the Goodfellas.
But then you're talking about people that got brought in at the last minute. Look at another franchise that went massive, Back to the Future. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, who was Michael J. Fox, was brought in at the last minute. And still in Back to the Future, I think there's a still in the movie with the actor that was in there before.
Right.
They forgot to take it out.
Nice, though. Of course, he's Michael J. Fox now raised over, I think, $80 million now for
Parkinson's.
Or $800 million now for Parkinson's. Doing a great job.
Yeah.
And, of course, doing it every day. God bless him. Great movie. Are we got something else on your list? Because I know you've come in today very prepared.
Yeah.
More prepared than we are, isn't he, Bobby?
I've written it all. Oh, there's a great TV show on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Called Upload.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
No.
So, imagine a world when you die, you're not actually dead. Your consciousness can be transported if you have the money and the constant funds. Yeah. Your consciousness can be transported to a USB disk, a USB drive, and you'll be put into an alternative reality where you'll be walking around, you're living in a hotel, you're swimming, you're living, you're breathing. You can even, at a touch of a button, talk with your loved ones that are still living in the real world, and they can see you.
This is the film, yes?
This is a TV show.
Does anybody in here? I mean, you like that, yeah?
It sounds pretty deep. No?
You should have a microphone. You should have a microphone.
It should. It's really good.
Can I just ask a question? I think I'm going to say this right. Does anybody in here believe of cryogenics? Do you believe in cryogenics?
Yeah.
So let me put this to you then, right? If you believe in cryogenics and it really does what they think it's going to do, why can't they just take somebody who's alive, freeze them, because there'll be somebody out there that wants to try it. Believe me.
But how do you know that they haven't already done this?
Michael Jackson was on that, wasn't he?
Well, he was in the chamber, wasn't he? But that was just for the air and everything because of his condition. But cryogenics, they freeze them, yeah. So they freeze the body, everything stops, completely stops, and a month later, live on TV, they bring them back. Do you reckon anybody would do that?
No. In case it goes wrong.
Bobby's going, yeah.
But then you look
They need a mortgage each month just to be asleep.
But then you look at Demolition Man, the film.
Yeah.
That was the same.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, that was with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes.
Okay. That was Demolition Man, yeah. Sure.
But going back on to Uploaded. So if you're a rich person when in real life and they say you can't take your money with you, in this TV show, you can. As long as you have your money in the bank, you are carrying living in the best hotels and you can live forever.
Interesting.
So I won't spoil it because it's only the first season on there now.
What was the film with Justin Timberlake and he had
Timeless.
He had the clock on his arm.
Timeless.
And as the clock went down, that was it. When it got to 000, you were dead.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, Timeless.
Yeah, did you see that? Great film. Yeah, heavy.
Yeah. I actually only saw that about 2 months ago.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything else on that list of yours? Because I know you've been pretty busy with your list.
Do you know, it's old now. Anyone that hasn't seen the Witcher series that's on there.
The Witcher?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said to me to watch this, yeah.
And I've been mentioning this for at least 4 months now. And it still is really very good. They're going to bring out a season 2. Okay, so Henry Cavill, who's, Superman, he's actually a real-time gamer. And actually on Lad Bible, the website, he done a video of himself in his man den, in his man cave, building a gaming PC in 6 hours to some weird music. Okay, and he loves the Witcher series.
Good movies coming out. Batman, of course, with Robert Pattinson, yes.
I don't know if I'm going to like that.
He's sick at the moment. He got COVID at the moment.
Yeah, but I don't... let's hope he gets better. But
you see, bitten by a bat again. Yeah. Back to the bat.
I just think,
Batman, is it going to be good or not?
I think not.
John Wick 4?
No, that's lost its plot now.
Yeah, you think that's going to go? So, what are you looking? Okay, if you could say, let's just go for it now. Name a movie that's really good now. What's your favourite now? The movie that you really, really enjoyed watching, which is?
Don't have one at the minute.
Okay. What are you looking forward to coming out then? I know that you watch a lot.
No, No, I am still looking forward to the John Wick that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even though John Wick 3 was kind of past its pasture.
I thought it was overboard.
Yeah, but this time they have promised that they are going to make it a bit better. I mean, I am a Keanu Reeves fan. Okay, so the new Bill and Ted has just come out.
Okay, right.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
Bill and Ted, all right. Okay.
I won't make a comment on that. But if you want to watch it, watch it.
Okay, so that's what you're looking out for. What about the game? Let's just take it to the game. What's a game that you're anticipating?
Okay,
that's
so
gonna be
there's
good?
2 games. November, Destiny 2, the new season launches on Destiny 2. Mm-hmm. And also a game
Launch date for that one? Do you know that one? The launch date for it?
They keep putting it, they keep on changing it. At the minute it's November, middle of.
Okay.
But the game that everybody is waiting for is Cyber 2077. And it's with Keanu Reeves. And Keanu Reeves is actually the only character in this game you cannot have sex with.
Would you want to have sex with Keanu Reeves? Don't answer that. Listen, what we're going to do, we're going to bring you back again in, say, a couple of weeks or so, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, come back. We'll try and get some gadgets in the studio as well.
Yeah.
And bring us some updates. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Hey, Bobby? Good, yeah? Absolutely good. Absolutely good. Any advice for anybody out there? If they're thinking, let's just take it before you go. If they're thinking of going out there today and buying a PC to play games online, is there any advice that you would give to them?
Yes.
What's the advice? Tell me. Don't spend too much.
No, know what you actually want it for. Yeah, and how long are you going to have the computer for? If you're going to have it indefinitely, okay, then it's worth spending at least £700-800 on a decent computer where you can upgrade it slowly and slowly as the years go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would go against the consoles now because they're too expensive.
I think they are, and I think they're limited.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Mark Kelly, thanks for joining us in the studio. It's been really cool.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. It's been really cool, actually. You learnt a lot of stuff and, of course, a lot of interesting facts as well. And, of course, a couple of weeks' time, you come back, tell us all about the new stuff that's coming out and the gadgets that are around.
Of course,
and
if anyone at home wants to comment and anyone that wants us to
a question, yeah, sure.
Yeah, then we can do it.
Drop us a line. Okay, simple as that. Go to the podcast website. That's talkingheads/podcast.com. Go on there, fill out the little email thing, and send us a couple of questions, and we'll print them out and give them to you ready for the next show. Yeah, how's that?
Good.
All right. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand, with your host Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.